So Gjergj is going to talk about the happy combination of Albanian organized crime with foreign terrorist organizations. Gjergj has some very interesting findings and ideas, so let us listen to him. Thank you, Gjergj.
Well, first of all, I promise not to tax your patience. Let's begin. Daesh is being expelled from his last strongholds, tiny towns and villages in Iraq and Syria, yet it's not dead, let alone buried. I strongly believe it will try and hit back his enemies, the unbelievers, as they say, in their soft belly, that's to say in Europe, and less softer targets in the big Russian cities. To rain death in European towns is relatively easy, but one needs to reach them first and then to cause havoc there. Daesh can accomplish little or nothing on its own in easily reaching such European cities. ISIS need facilitators, a go-between to reach its intended targets. Organized crime in general, and the Albanian one in particular, are extremely valuable partners to them. Well, it was...
The organized crime?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, so, as far as I have researched nowadays, they have reached quite an advanced stage in their symbiosis, that is, organized crime and Daesh. Why is the Albanian organized crime an asset to ISIS? There are several factors why its services are of use to ISIS. First, geographic factor. The Romans some 20 centuries ago constructed Via Egnatia, their military and trade route in the present-day lands inhabited by the Albanians in the Balkans and beyond, as this was the shortest route to link the east territories of the late Roman Republic with the provinces in the west. Cut it short. It is common sense that whenever you can follow the shortest route to reach your destination, you just seize such an opportunity. Second, the law-enforcing instruments of the states covering the area from Turkish-Syrian border to Italian ports on the Adriatic shores are not up to the mark. Sometimes they are corrupt, and sometimes they are simply underfunded. In some cases, even both. Third, Albanian organized crime, incorporating also the Albanian criminal gangs made up of Albanians from the former Yugoslavia, now have abilities and capabilities as well as networks in most of European states, so it can render the required services. Our criminals have thrived thanks to the globalization process which followed the fall of the Berlin Wall. Fourth, our criminals are generally free of religious and prejudices and taboos. This is important. For example, a Daesh operative pay well a Catholic, a Bektashi or a Christian Orthodox Albanian belonging to the Albanian Orthodox Church, and he will supply you with weapons, ammunition, explosives, whatever you require, but you have to pay. He will transport you illegally from Albania to Italy and from Italy to France, Holland or Belgium, throughout Europe to your final destination, England. Regardless of your religion, regardless of you being a terrorist, a petty criminal, or simply an economic illegal migrant worker. The only thing which matters is you can pay what it charges you. Fifth, our criminals sometimes own, not simply collude with important segments of Albanian politics, own them. Police force and key military people in key facilities, such as sea surveillance radar and command center. Porous borders, corrupt police force, inefficient secret service. Let's deal with these topics. Offering examples, we will try to prove our point to the distinguished audience. Organized crime, in cases of above the average profitable deals, large quantities of drugs, cigarettes, furs, perfumes, etc., used the cross-border point of Kapitan Andrejevo on the Turkish-Bulgarian border as less protected and under a lighter surveillance cross-border point. The prolonged severe economic crisis has adversely affected the performance of the Greek police. Lower wages, unpaid or underpaid night shifts and longer working hours bonuses, plus a cut in fuel allowance for police cars and vans has made the Greek police officers more prone to graft and bakshish. Now the flow of semi-refined cocaine, a kind of opium pasta, from Turkey to Albania uses the Greek-Turkish cross-border points, not the Bulgarian ones, as cost-cutting and safer drug routes compared to the old Bulgarian ones. An example, the area of Peshkopia in northeast Albania experienced large-scale cannabis cultivation in 2016. They exported it to the not to the traditional West European markets, but to Turkey. They prefer to be paid in kind, that's to say, in unrefined heroin. To increase profit, they transported back to Albania not only heroin and the common goods, but also 3 or 4 stowaways per truck. These might be anything from normal illegal migrants to terrorists, from Kurds to intellectuals suffering from the heavy-handed after 2016 coup Turkish government behavior. This kind of extremely efficient infrastructure can be put into service of terrorists provided that these terrorists can afford rather the steep prices charged by our criminals for their top quality services. The porous ports and beaches of Albania are used and will be used by terror operatives to gain access to European targets or to infiltrate weapons, ammunition and explosives in the so-called Castle Europe. The corruption is not only rampant among the personnel of Albanian law enforcing institutions, but the Albanian opposition claims that not only the last ex-minister of the Interior, but also the only brother of Premier Rama are involved in drug trafficking and possible armed flows to terrorists of Daesh in Europe. State-of-the-art equipment of surveillance and detection, both by Albanian money or our American and British allies funds, such as radars, scanners, etc., sometimes are manned by corrupt personnel or even members of criminal gangs. There are shameful cases when ultra-modern scanners cannot detect 8 tons of cannabis in a 13 meters long lorry. In one instance, as proved by the telephone tapping of the Italian Guardia di Finanza, Lockheed Martin made military-run Albanian radars were used by crooked personnel to help Italian mafia fishing boat loaded with 1.7 tons of cannabis, 5 Chinese-made Model 56 assault rifles, and several hundred rounds of ammunition to evade the surveillance of radars based on the Greek islands of Corfu and Doton. Not our radars, their radars, our allies in the NATO. On January 12, 2017, crooked policemen and custom officers at Vlora port helped lift for Italy on a Red Star ferry boat a cousin of the then Interior Minister, a notorious drug and gun runner. He was accompanied by his girlfriend, a policewoman officer, married with 3 children, and of course his Audi car, which was formerly owned by Mr. Samir Tahiri, the then Albanian Minister of Interior, now a person under investigation. On the same ferry boat and on the same date, the best-known Italian terrorist, Maria Giulia Sergio, known as Fatima, traveled to Italy too. What a coincidence. The drug and weapons runner, his policewoman lover, his car and our terrorist Fatima were not recorded on the TIMS system, the Albanian police border computer system, bought by American money, now run by Albanian money. The car was not recorded in the cargo manifest or the car list of the ferry in possession of the Albanian customs too. Maria Giulia Sergio, alias Fatima, traveled on a forged Italian passport, locally forged and supplied by criminal gangs of Vlora town. Small sports propeller aircrafts transport drugs and rarely weapons from Albania to Italy. It's common knowledge now. Yet they have never been intercepted while flying or while landed and loading cargo. In 2 cases they had broken wheels and couldn't fly off, so our police had to seize the aircrafts and pilots. One Italian pilot is in prison for 7 years stint, Court of Appeal verdict up to now. The Italian pilot of the other plane, this is interesting, was kept in a summer vacation facility, property of our Interior Ministry, for over a month or even 2. Then public prosecutor handed him back his passport and he left our Rinas airport as a free man. Now he is in Morocco together with his 3rd Moroccan wife, supervising helicopter flights loaded with Moroccan cannabis to Spain. We had an Albanian pilot dead in one of these flights a year and something ago. Our secret service, meddling in politics, is rather too busy to do simple counterintelligence work, let alone effectively gather info on the collusion among terrorists, organized criminal gangs and top politicians. Yet our 007 have managed to trace some collusion between even higher rank of police officers and drug runners, and they have some info, leaked even to Albanian media, that weapons and ammunition sometimes are being shipped to Italy by our criminal gangs. The capabilities of the Albanian underworld. Their capabilities are really fascinating. If you are an ISIS operative on the Albanian inhabited lands in the Balkans and you need transportation to Italy, you have simply to choose. Similar to a tourist office, they can offer you a wide variety of choices tailored to your budget. Budget is important. First, they can transport you by bus, in a van, on a horseback, or by walking on foot crossing the borders of Republic of Kosovo, Fyrom, or Greece to Albania. When the ISIS operative arrives on the Albanian coast, he is offered a vast choice of transport means. He can go to Italy on board of a fishing boat or a general cargo vessel with little interference from our border police or a host of Italian law enforcing agencies. Our mobsters can even sail him to Italian ports of Brindisi, Bari, Ancona and Trieste on board of a normal ferry boat from Durrës or Vlora port with the help of the Albanian crew members for as little as 2,000 to 2,500 euros. The ISIS operative can go on a speedboat, but it is uneconomic as he has to pay as ticket the same amount of money they charge for his weight being replaced by cannabis sativa. They apply the same rules as a formal forwarding and transport company in case of transportation of miscellaneous goods. A terrorist can be flown to Italy by these tiny sports planes transporting drugs, but the ticket will cost him a lot as he will pay the same amount of money paid as freight fee for the cannabis whose place he has taken aboard the plane. There were trips organized on board cabin cruisers and motor sailboats, what the Greek called skaike, but after Sacra Corona Unita, it is one of the brands of Italian mafia, gang and Albanian affiliates engaged in such activities were busted by the Italian GDF, no more such voyages for the time being. Anyway, such trips most of the time were organized from Greek islands near Corfu or directly from Turkish ports around Antalya and Bodrum. Very rarely from small southern port of Saranda in Albania. Of course, such a trip cost to a terrorist is higher than being on board of an Albanian fishing boat sailing to this or that Italian port. Anyway, there is a bonus that the terrorists can mingle with genuine Syrian refugees with ample financial means to pay for such a voyage. Once in Italy, the Daesh operative is on his own, or if he pays more than just the boat ticket, some Albanian petty criminal will help him by driving him to the nearest train station or offering him food and shelter, always paying extra for a couple of days till transportation is arranged to different Italian or European destination. It is a tourist office. If an ISIS operative aims at reaching England and he can pay for the trip, our criminals can offer him a wide variety of choices. He can travel from France or Holland under the floor of a lorry or in the back of a lorry. He can travel to England on board a cabin cruiser or motor sailboat. The only thing which changes is the payment from £3,000 to 10,000 and even more pounds in case of a cabin cruiser. The terrorists can even fly to England on board a small sports plane from abandoned ex-military airstrips and small airports in Belgium and Holland. An Albanian gang tried once even what is called a dry run flight from Germany with a Lithuanian pilot, but the plane was intercepted by British police while landing on the airstrip. So for the moment the Germany to England route is closed down. The plane was seized and the pilot went to jail. Now there is a new sinister development. Normal Albanian illegal migrants are boarding trucks in Spanish ports, especially Bilbao, or ports in ex-East Germany, and then using Ro-Ro vessels sailing to British ports to infiltrate UK. If terrorists will have the money to pay, our criminals are ready to put into their service even these Spanish and German routes. Another problem, weapons, ammunition and explosives. The Albanian Weapons Bazaar offers a wide choice of weapons and ammunition. You can buy from 60 years old Soviet-made or Chinese clones of Tokarev's and Makarov pistols to Austrian Glock 21 or even a Desert Eagle pistol. You can choose rusty but still deadly AK-47 assault rifles, as well as Soviet-made AKM, Chinese clone Model 56, Albanian-made clones ASH-79 or ASH-82, even Crvena Zastava-made Kalashnikovs called M72, whatever you like. Ammunition is also quite available, including perforating rounds, very important. Hand grenades of Soviet, Chinese or Albanian origins are also available. RPG-7 and even ancient RPG-2 can be bought at a very reasonable price, but it is difficult to find modern ammunition rockets for them. Macedonian-made Zolia RPGs can be bought at a higher price than the old Chinese-made RPG-7. With a lot of difficulty, one can procure training hand grenades with blister gas, 5% of sulfur mustard concentration. The remains of a cache of thousands of such grenades decommissioned years ago by a Swiss company paid by Swiss government money. Paying extra money, you can have such weapons and ammunition transported almost anywhere in Europe, UK included. The explosives are another article to be found in our Albanian bazaar. There are explosives such as RDX, T4, what the Italians call it, Amatol, TNT recovered from surplus Soviet and Chinese-made mortar and artillery shells or hand and anti-tank grenades. There is also TNT made at Miexi facility near Elbasan, based on a Swedish Bofors technology. Our police have seized also Nobelex made in Turkey, industrial explosives, also produced at a Slovenian factory owned by a Spanish company. Imagine how global, huh? They have seized even small quantities of Charlie 4, C4, plastic explosives of Iranian origin. Blasting caps and fuses are easily available too. Our criminal gangs have no taboo, so they can sell anything to anybody who can afford to buy such stuff. Radicalized Albanians, a bridge between the mobsters and the terrorists. It's almost over, patience. There are relatively few radicalized Albanians who are not in prison or still fighting in Syria and Iraq, serve as a bridge in bringing together our mobsters and the operatives of ISIS. Albania is a small country, so almost everybody knows everybody. A radicalized Albanian Muslim at service of ISIS has no difficulty in contacting an Albanian mobster or his family member or cousin through networks of ex-schoolmates, ex-work colleagues, or ex-pals during the obligatory military service. The radicalized Albanian might be from the same village or a neighbor from the same quarter block of the town with an Albanian criminal. That's enough. He serves as a middleman between the local mobster and the ISIS operative. The terrorists pay, and our mobster delivers the required service or goods. It is that simple that it works. Our criminals are generally very business-like people and are relatively honest to deliver what they have promised on the condition that the agreed price is paid by the Daesh operative. 3 lines as a conclusion. Our criminal gangs are powerful, armed to the teeth, well-connected, cruel, and quite global-minded. They have good access to Albanian politics. They have only one god, money, profit, so they can, and they have already colluded with terrorists. They are extremely dangerous. But for the Italian law enforcing agencies, the other European police forces and secret services generally tend to underestimate what cooperation between Daesh terrorists and Albanian mobsters and politicians can amount to. It is highly probable that in the coming weeks and months, the poisonous fruits of such a collision will affect European streets and soft and hardened, even hardened, targets in several European countries. And thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so next we have